Welcome to episode 347 of the 2 Minute Warning. Today, me and Wade are determining whether or not we think Trevor Lawrence can win Rookie of the Year in his first year in the NFL, obviously in contingency that the Jacksonville Jaguars pick him at number 1 overall. But before we get into that topic, question of the day for you guys: who has the most rushing touchdowns as a Jacksonville Jaguar? Not the rushing leader in yards, the most rushing touchdown. Stay to the end of the video. If you do not know the answer, if you do, comment it below and we will pin your comment. Wade, what are your thoughts on Trevor Lawrence and will he win Rookie of the Year?
I think that it's very obvious that he is a step above all the other quarterbacks in this draft class. A lot of times we'll see quarterbacks from big schools go to the NFL and end up being bust because they're being carried by their program that they have in school, that they have in place at their school. I don't think that will be the case for Trevor Lawrence. I think that he has the skills needed to be able to transfer to the NFL. He was great in college, number 1 recruit. He was expected to go number 1 in the NFL draft. Since high school, I think that says a lot about someone when they maintain that level of play. I think that he will be the guy in Jacksonville from the start. I don't see many of these other rookies that are going to the draft this year going to be the guy. Justin Fields, I think, was carried by Ohio State. I don't see him doing too much in the NFL. Zach Wilson and Trey Lance, both, I haven't seen too much from them because of the fact that they were at smaller schools. They were playing bad competition. They do have promising characteristics, but I don't see them being as amazing as Trevor Lawrence. I don't see them being the guy at wherever they go from the start. So I think that Trevor Lawrence has an edge over all the other quarterbacks. And when you're talking Rookie of the Year, these awards typically go to quarterbacks. So I think he has an edge over just about everybody. But we're going to have to see how the big-name receivers like Devontae Smith, Jamar Chase, and Jalen Waddle do in their starting season, where they end up.
Yeah, to add to that list, Kyle Pitts would be a good extra piece to consider as well. But really, I think of the quarterbacks, like Wade mentioned, Trevor Lawrence has the most potential of these guys because his raw skill is just better than the other guys he's being drafted with. But the team he's going to, the Jacksonville Jaguars, has some of the biggest mysteries in the NFL just because of Urban Meyer never coaching the NFL. We don't know how that will do. We don't know what they will do later in the draft, who they will pick up with their other first-round pick. We don't know what they will do with their cap space. There's a lot of mysteries of whether or not the Jaguars will give Trevor Lawrence the supporting cast he needs to become Rookie of the Year and put up those stats and numbers. And really, if they don't address offensive line, we could see a Joe Burrow year where Trevor Lawrence was on pace to win Rookie of the Year. However, he wasn't protected until he got hurt, and then everything changed. And really, no matter how many times, even if Trevor Lawrence is a front runner to win Rookie of the Year, and whether it be Zach Wilson number 2, Justin Fields number 3, Devontae Smith, Jamar Chase, so on and so forth, there's always a diamond in the rough in the NFL draft that no one knows. No one would have known Justin Jefferson would be this great of a wide receiver and be this close to winning Rookie of the Year, or else he would have been the first wide receiver taken in the draft. So clearly, there's going to be a couple unknown players that are going to emerge and come out of nowhere, such as Chase Claypool as well, and a couple running backs as well. Maybe Najee Harris or Trey Sermon could take off. Anything is possible, but there's going to be some players that we don't know, and they're just kind of going under the radar, and we're not considering, and they're definitely going to come out and shine that we're not thinking about right now. So I don't think it's really the big names that we have to worry about Trevor Lawrence competing with. It's the guys that we're not talking about and can't name.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it on the head pretty much. This is all in theory because nobody knows. I don't know some guy coming out of a D3 school that nobody's really heard of. A few sleepers from Florida, Kadarius Toney and Trayvon Grimes were star receivers. Kadarius Toney has been balling out at the Senior Bowl, and I think that he has a lot of potential. I think he raised his draft prospect a lot in that bowl, so I think he could go to a decent team and possibly have a good career, so he might be a sleeper. You mentioned Kyle Pitts, not really a sleeper, everybody knows his name. I think he has competed with the best of the best in college, and he has dominated them all, so I do not see why that would not transfer over to the NFL, unless he goes to a bad team that won't give him the quarterback he needs. But yeah, I mentioned all the quarterbacks are at least several steps behind Trevor Lawrence in what is expected from them. Justin Fields, a lot of people have been giving him props. They say that he might be better than Trevor Lawrence because he beat them head-to-head. But I've watched some of his game tape. Justin Fields is a mobile quarterback, but he really struggles with analyzing the field as a whole. I think we watched it together.
Yeah. He's reliant on the first option.
He finds his first option and very rarely looks away from that. So in NFL, he's going to be able to see the whole field and be able to manage the game better than just relying on that first option if it's not open. So I'd like to see him get better in the offseason before I even consider him for this talk, but we'll have to see what all happens and where everybody goes.
Yeah, the fact that he's relying on the first option is bad in general, but the fact that coming into the NFL, the game is that much faster, that's definitely not going to be a good transfer to him. However, it's still speculation. He could prove us wrong, but really, if none of these guys like Zach Wilson or Justin Fields or Trey Lance are a starter right away, Trevor Lawrence is going to have much more playing time than them and already just build his case up for Rookie of the Year. We saw Tua Tagovailoa came late into the season, and even if he did have the numbers, no one was really going to consider him for Rookie of the Year just because he was out for 6-7 weeks of football. Same with Joe Burrow. He missed the back half of the season. They just can't really compete when you don't have the same amount of playing time. But really, I think possibly some of Trevor Lawrence's biggest threats are the back half of the quarterbacks in the draft, such as Mac Jones or Kyle Trask, because those guys are not going to be picked high, but because they're going to be picked low, they're going to be picked to a team that already has a great roster around them. Maybe Kyle Trask or Mac Jones could go to the Chicago Bears and come in and have great talent just because the talent around them is great and put up great numbers because of the team around him, whereas Trevor Lawrence is going to have a completely, I don't want to say roughed up team, but a new team, a new coach. Unlike the Chicago Bears that has a team ready to win, a Mac Jones or Kyle Trask could come in and actually be a great quarterback with the right system, or if one of them go to New England, or Big Ben retires, or the Saints. They're just a ready roster that just needs an average quarterback, and one of those guys might be average if they will look great and possibly put up great numbers with a great team around them.
See, the only thing I don't like about that is if they do go later, I don't see them starting right away.
Exactly. It would be...
It's the thing with Rookie of the Year, you have to be able to start almost the whole season, put up the best numbers. Because if Justin Jefferson had missed the first 5 games, he wouldn't have put up record-breaking numbers. It would not even be considered in this talk of Rookie of the Year right now. So I think that a big thing is getting the playing time they need. You mentioned some running backs like Najee Harris. I think that if he goes to the Steelers, who have a very weak running game right now, he could make some big noise and possibly make a case for himself.
Yeah, I definitely think if we both had to agree, Trevor Lawrence is a front runner right now, but I know there's going to be some diamond in the rough that no one's talking about that's going to come out and change the entire race for sure.
Yeah. Right.
For the question of the day, the leading rusher in touchdowns for the Jacksonville Jaguars is Mojo Maurice Jones-Drew. All-time leading in rushing yards is Fred Taylor, but touchdown goes to Maurice Jones-Drew. Thanks for watching, guys. 2 Minute Warning.
2 minutes.